This is Steel Hawg, and it's a coaster we gotta talk about. This coaster is one of the weirdest and most wonky coasters I have ever ridden. See, Steel Hawg is a super compact S&S El Loco coaster operating at Indiana Beach. This coaster has one of the most bizarre layouts I have ever seen, and honestly it looks like a real-life K'NEX coaster. So let's dive deep into the Steel Hawg. I'm gonna start by briefly going over its history, and then I'm gonna go over the entire ride experience. So Steel Hawg was the prototype S&S El Loco coaster. S&S originally created the El Loco model to compete with Gerstlauer's popular Eurofighter model. The Eurofighter is a super compact model of roller coaster created by Gerstlauer. It's become extremely popular for smaller parks that don't have much space or budget for larger coasters. S&S saw this and responded with the El Loco model, a model of coaster that was even more compact than the Eurofighter. Indiana Beach saw this and decided that it would be a great fit for the park. See, Indiana Beach does not have much land to work with, so historically they've had to get creative with coaster placements, building coasters over water, on buildings, and even into other coasters. Because how small of a footprint the El Loco model has, it seemed like a perfect fit for the park, and they put it in a somewhat hard to find spot behind the parking lot. When Steel Hawg opened, it featured the steepest drop on any coaster in the world, a 111-degree drop. That drop was later beaten both by other El Loco coasters and two Eurofighters, with the record now being held by TMNT Shellraiser at the Nickelodeon Universe Park. Now, for better or for worse, the El Loco model never caught on like the Eurofighter. From 2008 until 2014, 6 El Loco coasters were built, but none have been purchased since then. So as I said, these things are comically compact. I mean, just look at it. But does that translate into actually being a good ride? Sort of. So let's go over the ride experience. Steel Hawg starts off with a crazy fast lift hill that gets you to the coaster's max height of 96 feet. That's followed by a quick turnaround that delivers some surprisingly good laterals and also has an amazing view of Lake Schaefer. You can't admire that view for long though, because you are thrown into that 111-degree drop. If this drop wasn't trimmed, it would be insane, easily being world class, but because it is trimmed, it's honestly kind of underwhelming. After that, you quickly hit a decent moment of laterals as you transition into the first mid-course brake run. Following that is an overbanked turn. This kind of element has become very popular recently, especially on RMC coasters. These elements, if taken with enough speed, create a strong and sustained moment of airtime. The one on Steel Hawg is not taken with speed though, so instead of creating a wild airtime moment, this section just feels awkward and honestly is pretty uncomfortable. The outer bank doesn't last for long though, and you quickly transition into a regular bank turn, which then transitions into a dive loop. You take this dive loop super slowly, so it creates some amazing hang time. The dive loop is followed by another mid-course brake run, and the transition to this one actually provides some mediocre airtime. The brakes don't slow you down at all, and they're followed by a bank turn, which smoothly transitions into an inline twist. This inline twist is the best moment on the ride. Similar to the dive loop, this moment provides some good hang time, but that's wombo comboed with some amazing visuals of diving towards the ground. The inline twist is then followed by a bank turn, and then you hit the brakes. By the way, if you've been enjoying the video so far, hitting the like button would help out a ton. Anyway, I feel like a good way to describe this coaster is it's like a Wild Mouse on steroids. It is certainly better than a Wild Mouse. Quite frankly, that time I stubbed my toe on a metal pipe was better than a Wild Mouse, but it isn't a fantastic layout. It does have some good moments, but those are kinda held down by the slow turns and mid-course brake runs. The latter of those is there to increase capacity, which is a good thing considering each car only holds 4 people. Because Indiana Beach is rarely busy, this wouldn't be an issue if they ran more than one train, but because they only run one train, this coaster regularly has one of the longest lines in the park. The restraints also kinda suck. They're a weird combination of over-the-shoulder restraints and a lap bar. The lap bar is perfectly fine, but the shoulder pad things can be very uncomfortable. Last time I rode this coaster, they were situated in a comfortable position, but I do remember in the past these restraints landing in a very uncomfortable position. That being said, Steel Hawg is still a very good ride. While I don't think it's the best coaster at the park, that spot is reserved for Cornball Express, it is still a very good ride that I make sure I ride every time I'm at the park. Another coaster that I ride every time I'm at its park is Raging Bull. My video on that coaster is right there. Also subscribe.